Hello, welcome to Solo Playthroughs. We got a big one here today. We got Fractured Days, Split the Sky, and Ocean's Hungry Grasp against the Kingdom of Scotland, level 5. Yes, I have not done many of these two-handed solo playthroughs on the channel. In fact, I have done one, a whole one. So we're doing a second one. Again, this is from the Reddit community. I love the Reddit Spirit Island community. It is very cool. There's a lot of fun stuff on there, and they clearly love the freaking heck out of this game. So I love that. So they put out a community challenge, and this was community challenge, I believe 58. They do 2 community challenges a month. One includes some of the expansion spirits, and then there is also a base game community challenge as well. I'd highly recommend anyone checking it out if you're looking for ideas of things to do. They say for intermediate, you should do this at level 3, advanced level 5, and expert level 6. We're going to go to level 5. Level 6 Scotland is really hard. So, especially with our boy Ocean. Now, this will be a little bit of a preview because I'm going to be doing a strength versus strength series starting pretty soon. I will start off with Ocean versus level 6 Scotland. I think level 5 is good for today. The base game community challenge on number 58, I probably will do at the expert level, and that is with Green and Bringer of Dreams and Nightmares against level 6 England, I believe. I think that'll be a really fun third two-handed playthrough to put on for the channel, so check out for that. I might do that rather soon. I might wait a few months. It might depend on how badly I get crushed by trying to do this challenge here. Now, I have done this 3 times off camera. The first 2 were utter disasters of various degrees. The third, I did manage to pull it off thanks to a rather clutch consuming void that I might have repeated 3 times in the same turn, and that was pretty nuts. So we'll see. Again, with Fractured Days, it's a matter of trying to build a strategy based on the days that time forgot. Is that what he calls them? Is that right? The days that never were, not the days that time forgot. I'll probably say it wrong at least twice more in this playthrough, so, you know, whatever. It is what it is. But here's our setup. As per the challenge, we have Fractured Days on board A. We have Ocean on board F. I have all the initial setup done as far as the Dahan, the starting tokens of the disease and the beast, and the starting structures. You do put Fractured Days presence in the lowest number land that has exactly 1 Dahan, and then 2 in the highest number land that has 0 Dahan. And for Ocean, you have to put 1 presence in the ocean, and then 1 presence on a coastal land of your choice. Now, in a true solo game, I like to have that presence in 1, but with Fractured Days and with this whole setup, I like to have this here, so maybe I can draw in an explorer from Fractured Days' board to try to help, and then we'll see what we can do with Fractured Days based on his days that never were. Right, so super excited. Let's go ahead and get the rest of this setup done. We have the Healthy Island cards. Again, there are 16 if you have all the expansion content. I'm going to roll my D20. Where did my D20 go? I have it. Here it is, hiding on me in the corner behind all the D6s, laughing at them for having less numbers than it does. Clearly, I rolled a 14. That's going to start with 5 blight. Oh, that was such a good idea in theory. It just didn't actually happen in practice. I was going to talk about how great of an idea that was, and then it just all blew up in my face on camera for you all to see. Yeah, that's how I roll, people. Cool. I'm going to move. Now I won't move anything. I'm going to shuffle these over here. All right, so we got the fear deck shuffled. Now, Scotland has one heck of a fear deck, even at level 5. We get a 5, 6, 4. So 5 cards, 6 cards, and 4 cards. 4 cards are going to go beneath Terra level 3, 6 cards between the Terra level 3 and the Terra level 2 dividers, and then 5 cards on top. That is quite the task to get through 40 fear just to get up to Terra level 2. So, good luck. We're going to shuffle this up. If you're new to solo playthroughs, I will not be going through much of the starting powers for Fractured Days or Ocean. I'm just going to go right into the gameplay, but I do have true solo videos with both of these spirits on my channel. I actually did a double board with Fractured Days as well, so you can check those out. Actually, Ocean was my first ever live playthrough on the channel, so special place in my heart. Here we have the event deck. I'll put it over here, and now we just have to shuffle up the powers. So the powers are going to take a little bit of time because not only do we have to shuffle up the powers, altogether we have to set up the days that never were for Fractured Days. Now, Fractured Days, normally, if you're playing with 3 or 4 players, he would have 4 minor powers and 4 major powers set aside in the days that never were. But in a 1 or a 2 spirit game, he will get a full complement of 6 of each type of power. So I'm going to take the 6 off the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Again, I have my major powers in blue and my minor powers in green. Shuffle up the minor power deck, put them over here, take 6 off the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I'll reveal those in a bit. One of the interesting things about Fractured Days is that in a true solo game, you would also start with a time, but in a 2-player game, you actually don't. So you have 0 time in your time bank, and you are basically starting from scratch to try to get these suckers off the board to give yourself the energy and the card plays you need, but also to give yourself ability to pay for any of your unique powers that require time. Scotland's escalations are super interesting. Doring said that we added an extra city to both land 2s. We also know that after Scotland Explorers, after setup, instead of putting explorers on coastal lands, they will put towns with the coastal lands card itself. It gets a little interesting. We probably won't see that card today. Fractured Days is cool. Additionally, builds in coastal lands will still occur even if there's nothing there. If there is an adjacent city or a city in an adjacent land, perhaps is a better way to say that. And then if we ever have a ravage action, put blight on a coastal land, we will have to put an additional blight in the ocean. Now remember, the ocean is a coastal wetland for the purposes of blight, so that would kill ocean spirit. So you need to be really careful there because ocean does like his presence. We are going to have to roll this die so we can start building this really unique Scotland Invader deck. So that's going to be out of the game. I'm going to roll it again, and we're going to set that level 3 card aside, and we're going to put these 4 as the bottom of our Invader deck over here. Now we're going to have to take the Coastlands card and separate that out. We're going to know exactly where that's going to come up. And I'm going to shuffle the stage 2 cards. I'm going to roll a die. I rolled a 6, not helpful. I rolled a 1. I'm going to take that card out of the game. I do need to identify another one though, so I rolled a 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4 in the middle. I'm going to take that card. I'm going to put the coastal land card on top of that. Now on top of that, we're going to put the stage 3 card. On the top of that, we're going to have the other 2 stage 2 cards that are in the game. So stage 2, stage 2, stage 3, coastal lands, stage 2, and then again at the bottom of the deck we will have the other 4 stage 3 cards. We have the 4 stage 1 cards. We're going to take 2 of these out. So I'm just going to roll, and the number I roll is the number I'm going to put on top of the deck. I rolled a 1, so that's going to go on top of the deck, and then on top of that we will have another 1, so that will go right there. There we go. We're going to do the initial explore. Initial explore is into sands. You don't have to worry about exploring with towns just yet. We will get there soon. So I'm going to put an explorer there. That would be a town on subsequent rounds, but not now. We're going to put an explorer there, put an explorer here, and put an explorer here. That will work. We have to set up the days that never were. So here are our 6 minor power cards. I'm going to put that deck off the screen. I think I'm going to need the room. So what do we get? Up top, Promise of Protection. Gather up to 2 Dahan. Dahan have +2 health while in target land. Spur on with Words of Fire. If you target a spirit other than yourself, they gain 1 energy. Target spirit may immediately play another power card by paying its cost. If it is slow, it does not resolve until later. I don't love it. Infest with Aquafires. If target land has any disease, 1 damage to each invader. If target land is a mountain or a wetland, it's 1 fear and add a disease. That it is an ore. It's also a slow power. Twilight Fog brings madness. Add 1 strife. Push 1 Dahan. Each remaining Dahan takes 1 damage. Do love the strife mechanic. Plus the sun, moon, and the air lines up very well with Fractured Days. So that's nice. Enticing Splendor. You have to target a land at range 0 that has no blight. You can gather 1 explorer town, or you can gather up to 2 Dahan. Also matches up well with the sun and the air. And then Inflame the Fires of Life. It costs 1 energy. It's a slow power, 1 away from a sacred site. You can add a disease or 1 fear and add a strife. Would have liked a nice defend card, so we'll see if we can make do. The strife could be a nice proxy for defense, but you are a little bit more prone to an unfortunate event or two if that's the case. We are going to do the major powers now. So in the land that time forgot, we have Tiger's Hunting. So the target land is a land without blight that is 1 away from a place where you have presence in a jungle. It's 2 fear off the top. You add a beast, gather up to a beast, 1 damage per beast, push up to 2 beasts. Could be a little tricky to make that work with Fractured Days. Manifest Incarnation. Target a land that has a city. You generate 6 fear at the top, which I love. +1 fear for each town and city and for each of your presence in the target land. Remove a city, remove a town, remove an explorer, but then the invaders in that land ravage. So it's pretty nuts. But if you have 3 sun and 3 moon, invaders do -6 damage in their ravage. So might be something to consider even pretty early with Fractured Days here. We have Unleash a Torrent of the Self's Own Essence. Again, like these sun-moon combos, that's looking really nice for us as we try to unlock some of these special things going on with Fractured Days is innate here. Gain 4 energy. You may forget a power card to gain 4 more energy, or pay X energy, deal X damage inland at range 0. Interesting. We have Walls of Rock and Thorn. Oh, I love this card. 2 damage, defend 8, but it has to target 2 away from where you have a sacred site, and it has to target a mountain or a jungle. You also get to add a wild, and you get to isolate the target land. Isolation could be a really nice mechanic here. Twisted Flowers, Murmur Ultimatums. Also a great card. Man, every card has at least one of the elements I like too. This has all 3. It's 4 fear, add a strife. Terror levels 2 or higher, remove 2 invaders. Definitely will be a stronger card later. We'll see about how long it's going to take us to get the terror level 2, however, but really like that one. And Rapid Wings of Sunlight, move up to 5 Dahan from the target land to any land, defend 5 in that land. There we go. That's going to be the defend card I'm going to need, I think. Also has a sun and an air. So lots to work with Fractured Days here. I think we have ourselves a decent chance to make this happen. Realistically, looking at this board and knowing up motion, that's probably going to blight, right? So I want to try to set myself up that I'm going to be able to drown something. This is a little unfortunate, but 1, 2, 3. I might be able to do something cool with Fractured Days over in land 1 and make that not an issue. But remember, I also have a defend 4 card as Oceans. So let's go ahead and we'll do the growth. I'm going to try to stick with growth for Fractured Days and growth for Ocean. Sometimes growth and card plays will kind of get a little funny as I try to think through my options here, but I'll try to keep this as systematic as possible. For Fractured Days, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to choose growth option 3. Now he's going to gain a sun element for this turn. We're going to gain a power card from the days that never were. I want to gain, I'm going to take Twilight Fog Brings Madness, and then I get to move a presence up to 4 away. I'm going to move this presence into 4 from 2, and then I get to gain 3 time, or for each time I choose not to gain, I can get 2 money instead. I will gain all 3 time to get myself up to 2 card plays. I'm going to play Blur the Arc of Years, and I'm going to play the card I just got, and that's going to cost me 1 energy. And again, I get that from my presence track, so I can afford that. And I'm going to do my element check. So I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 sun, 1, 2 moon, and 1, 2 air. What that unlocks for me is the first level of Visions of a Shifting Future, and it unlocks for me the 3rd level of target spirit may play a power card, paying its cost. And I could target myself or another spirit with that. I might play that 3rd card. We'll see. It's Ocean's turn. I'm going to add 1 presence to any ocean and then another presence to any ocean, so I can put it here, I can put it up there. I'm going to give myself a sacred site in F, and I'm going to put my first presence over here in A. And I'm going to play 1 card for starters. I'm going to play Call of the Deep. I get 1 energy from the growth option. I get no energy from my presence track. I'm going to do my element check. I have 2 moon, 1 from the track, 1 air, and 2 water. No earth. So we're going to play Blur the Arc of Years. I'm going to target a land 1 away from where I have presence as Fractured Days. I'm going to target land 3. There are Dahan there. I'm going to add a 1 Dahan, and I'm going to push 2. So I'm going to push 1 into land 7, and I'm going to push 1 into land 2. Now we're going to do the innate power, slip the flow of time. Target spirit may play any power card. I can target myself as Fractured Days, or I can target Ocean. I'm going to target Ocean here, and I think it makes the most sense to play Tidal Boon for 1 energy. The other innate power here, Visions of a Shifting Future, is a slow power, so I won't worry about that. Twilight Fog Brings Madness is a slow power, but Ocean does have one more fast power, Call of the Deeps. I get to gather an explorer into a coastal land. I'm going to gather the explorer from 4 into 3. Let's go to the Invader Phase. So Jagged Earth rules, we're just flipping over the event deck, and that's fine. So we do not carry out the event on the first turn. It's a little bit too swingy. And now we do the Invader actions. So the build step, I'll try to go A to F every time. So we're doing a build in land 7. There is nothing to build in land 4, and land 4 is not coastal, so the fact that there are 2 cities on land 2 is irrelevant. We're going to do a build on land 1 in board F, and then we're doing a city is getting built in land 8 on board F. Explore step, we're exploring into jungles. So we get an explorer in land 8 on board A. We get a town in land 3 on board A. We're going to get a town in land 2 on board F, and we get an explorer in land 5. Invader cards advance. We're going to do Twilight Fog Brings Madness. 1 away from where I have presence. I'm going to add a strife. So I'm going to add a strife onto this town in land 7. I get to push a Dahan. I'm going to push this Dahan into land 8. And then each remaining Dahan takes 1 damage, but again, they will heal during the time passing. Now I'm going to play Tidal Boon. I'm going to give Fractured Days 2 more energy, and they can push a town and up to 2 Dahan from one of their lands. Let's push this town out of here. And do I want to push the Dahan? I could probably gather that explorer out of there. Yeah, let's like prevent any of that building nonsense from happening. And so we're going to push this town. And since it didn't go into an ocean, the rest of that is irrelevant, but I do have to target another spirit with that. All right. So I think that will make the most sense of things. Now, Visions of a Shifting Future. I can look at the top card of either the Invader deck or, if relevant, the event deck, return it, then shuffle that deck's top 2 cards for the Invader deck. Differing Invader stages may give away which card is next. The problem is with the Invader deck against Scotland, I don't necessarily want a stage 3 card to come up, although that escalation for these stage 2 cards is gross. And we know that's not coastal land, so I know I will be having to do that. So that's a bunch of things. Oh, by the way, I never refigured my elements after I played the second card. So I would have another moon. So I'm at 3 moons, still at 1 air, and I do get a 3rd water. So the 2-1-3, I would have generated 2 fear as a fast power. And Ocean Breaks to Shore, I had nothing to drown because I do not have a town on a land that I have presence on. Unfortunately, was not able to take advantage of that. But let me do Visions of a Shifting Future on the event deck. And what we have here, Invested Aristocracy. On each board, if no blight was added to this board, add 1 town to the highest number of land with no invaders. Well, yikes. Oh, that's really bad. Yeah, this is a bad card for us. It's not going to be very helpful. So hopefully when I randomly put it back, it'll be fine. So what happens is after I did this, I put it back on top. I take the second card, and then we're going to shuffle the top 2 cards of the deck. So half the time it's going to be the card that it was going to be anyway, and half the time it'll switch up. And I kind of hope it switches up. So let me roll a die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the first one I'm going to put back. I rolled a 5, so that's there. That's there, and we'll see if we change our fate a little bit. Time's going to pass. These 2 Dahan are going to heal. We're going to growth. Fractured Days is going to do the same growth option. So he's going to gain a sun, and we're going to gain 3 time or some combination of time and money. Don't like the fact that an event card is going to basically throw a town in land 8. It does make me want to try to move that guy out of there. I'm going to take Enticing Splendor. I'm going to move a presence up to range 4, and I can gain 3 time. I'm going to gain 3 time here. I get 2 energy from the presence track. I'm going to play these 2 cards. Enticing Splendor, Absolute Stasis is going to cost 1, and it's also going to cost 1 time. I'll figure out what I'm going to use that on in a second. I'm going to get my element check though. I have 3 and 2, so I do have the bottom level of Slip the Flow of Time again, which could be interesting. Now, I didn't drown anything last turn with Ocean, so it's a little unfortunate. So we're going to have to try to make up for that. I'm going to get myself Growth Option 2, which is going to let me add a presence. So I'm going to do that to get the energy. So I get 1 energy. I'm going to add a presence on a coastal land. Is 1 away from my presence. So basically any coastal land on either board. I'm going to add this presence here. Then I also push a presence from each ocean. So I'm going to push a presence into 1, and I'm going to push a presence into 1, and then I'm going to gain a power card. Again, the waves are coming up on the shores. Oh, these all cost 1, which isn't great. So encompassing ward, defend 2 in every land with target spirit has presence. Like calls to like. If target land has an explorer, gather an explorer. Do likewise for towns, Dahan, Blight, and Beast. That could be useful. It has a water, which I like. Devouring Ants, 1 fear, 1 damage, destroy 1 Dahan. Target land, a jungle or a sands, do +1 damage. And then renewing boon, choose a land where you and target spirit both have presence, and that land remove a blight, and target spirit may add 1 of their destroyed presence. Encompassing ward's interesting, but it just would basically let me defend 2 in every coastal land, and it has all my elements. Like cost of like, though, is hard to turn down, just the ability to get things out of the inland. Let me do like calls to like. I think it will make some sense, allow me more opportunity to drown things. So I got that. I'm gonna play Swallow the Land Dwellers. Fractured Days is going to give me the opportunity to play a second card by paying its cost, thanks to Slip the Flow of Time. So we're gonna do that. And I'm gonna play Grasping Tide. Now I'll do my element check. I have 2 moons, I have 3 waters, and 1 earth. So it does give me the first level of Ocean Breaks the Shore. I never moved my presence, so let me do that now. I'll move a presence here. Target a land that doesn't have blight. I can gather. You know what? Do I need the Sacred Site? I do. What do I want not to exist? Shoot. Enticing Splendor is not all I was hoping. The targeting is just too limited. I could get the same elements with Spurn on with Words of Fire. So if you target a spirit other than yourself, they gain 1 energy. I will take that 1 energy, and I could play another power card paying its cost. I could actually ultimately play 3. I will play like calls to like as well. I think that all makes sense. And that gives me no extra mountains, but it just means I'm reclaiming cards next turn, which I'm kind of okay with. I kind of want those cards back anyway. It just means I'll have 1 card play unless Fractured Days can keep giving me an extra card play with Slip the Flow of Time. We have Absolute Stasis. I'm going to target a land using 1 time, 2 away from where I have a Sacred Site. I'm going to make the whole thing just not exist. So they won't do any actions. I'm going to make land 8 not exist. So there'll be no actions in 8. For any purposes, there's just nothing there that can do anything until the end of the slow power phase. Growth options are done. Presence check is done. Fast powers, we've done Fractured Dazes. Ocean, I'm going to generate 2 fear with Grasping Tide, and we're going to defend 4. We're going to put a defend die in land number 1, and we're defending 4 there with the defense token. Let's go to the event card. Did I switch them up? I did. Look at me. Very cool. All right. Sprawl contained by the wilds. Add 1 wilds to a land without invaders. Build in a land with the most cities and towns. Okay. So I don't hate this. I'm going to add a wilds into 1 on Fractured Days' board because it prevent a town from ending up in there. So I did that on his board, and now on board F, I'm going to add a wilds to 7 because this is so hard for me to reach. And now we have to build in a land with the most cities and towns, minimum 1. So we're building in land 2 on both boards. So both the disease is going to go away. Bye-bye disease. And then Explorer's Blunder. On each board, destroy 2 explorers among lands with beasts, and then light ambushes during Ravage. Dahan deal damage at the same time as invaders. We go to the invader steps. The invaders are ravaging on land 8, so we get a blight. Now remember, if we don't add blight next time, we know, because we were able to look with visions of a shifting future, we know that if we don't have blight, we're going to be adding another town, so it's something to be aware of. Not that you really want to try to allow for blight, but we do get 1 blight this round. Invaders are attacking with a 3 in land 1. I'm defended 4, so the town and the explorer are both no longer amongst the living, and that is 1 fear for that. And now we're ravaging on land 7. We have a strife there. Dahan is injured because of the explorer who doesn't have a strife on him, but then he still survives to fight back. So they're both gone. That's another fear for destroying that town, and nothing to ravage in land 4. We're now doing the build step. Again, nothing happens in land 8 because of absolute stasis. We get a city in land 3. we get a town in land 5, and we get a town in land 2. Explore step, exploring into wetlands. Now, the escalation triggers immediately. Ports spread outward. On the single board with the most coastal cities and towns, add 1 town to end lands with the fewest towns. N equals number of players. There's 2 players, so I'm going to get a town in 1 and a town in 3 because I have 4 on board F. I have 4 coastal towns plus cities on board A, and obviously I want coastal ones on Ocean's board because that could go very well for me. So now we're going to do our explore step. We're exploring into wetlands. So we're going to get a town in land 3. There would be an exploration into land 7, but the wilds is there, so that worked out really well. We're going to get an explorer in land 5 on board A and a town in land 2 on board A. Invader cards are going to advance. So I have a bunch of powers as Ocean. I'm going to target land 3, like calls to like. Target land has explorers, gather up to 1 explorer. It doesn't. Now we do the same. If target land has towns, we can gather up to 1 town. I'm going to gather the town from 5 into 1. If target land is Dahan, I'm going to gather the Dahan from 2 into 1. If it has Blight, we would do the same. If it has Beast, do the same. It doesn't have Blight or Beast, so that's over, but at least we got the town out of land 5, and we left the Dahan there, so that should be helpful. Now I'm going to play Swallow the Land Dwellers. I'm going to drown an explorer, a town, and a Dahan in a coastal land where I have presence. There is no Dahan there, so I don't have to follow those part of the instructions. I do as much as I can. So these are drowned. So it's going to be 1 fear for destroying that town through drowning. And then I'm in the same land, I'm going to drown that town, and that's going to generate another fear, which gives me a fear card. One of the things I should have mentioned too, remember Scotland, if we ever get cities on 5 of the 6 coastal lands, we lose. It's 1 more than 2 times the number of boards. So we can have 4, and we could have 18 cities on the coast as long as they're not spread out among more than 4 lands. Now, in a true solo game, I could turn this into 5 energy. In a co-op game with 2 players, again, it's the number of players is what you're divided by. So we have 5 health worth of invaders. I'm going to divide that by 2. So I'm going to be able to turn 4 of that health into 2 energy, which is going to be really helpful next turn. We're going to get all of this off. So this time that I have to go back on the board, I'll put it there. I have to reclaim cards as Ocean. So I'm going to gain a power card. I do like getting majors early with Ocean, but I think right now it's going to make sense to get 1 more minor, and then I'll start worrying about stocking up on majors pretty soon. I just don't know what I would throw out, which is the problem. Like also, like I think it'd be very trickily helpful. So we're going to get a minor 1 more time. Sucking Ooze, 2 fear if invaders are present, has my elements, isolate target land. I don't hate that, but you have to target a sand or a wetland. Animated Rackroot, 1 fear, destroy an explorer. Tormenting Rawflies, add a disease to a sands or a wetland. Or I can do some fear stuff, or Savage Maw Beast, 1 away from where you have a sacred site. Target land is a jungle or a wetland, 1 fear and 1 damage. So if I have 3 beasts, it'd be 2 damage. I'm going to take Sucking Ooze. That's going to be definitely fodder to get thrown out when I get my first major. I do have to gather 1 presence into each ocean. So I'm going to gather a presence from land 1 into the ocean on board A. I'm going to gather a presence from land 1 into the ocean on board F. You know what? I don't need to do that. I'm going to gather from 3 into the ocean on board A. I'm going to get 2 energy from that. I get 1 energy from the presence track, and I'm going to only have 1 card play, but hopefully good old Fractured Days over here will give me the ability to get a second. He's going to have to reclaim cards next turn. What am I going to do with him this turn? Well, we're going to go back to the same old. We're going to get 3 time. I'm going to give him 3 card plays and probably 2 energy. No, do I need that extra? I'm getting 2 energy from the presence track. What am I going to get from that? Enticing Splendor now makes more sense, although I can't use it to target 4. Of course I can't. I could get that dude out of 5, which I like. Give me Enticing Splendor because it's got the elements I want. So that's not that expensive. I am going to get another time off. I'm going to try to clear this entire track. And then I can move a presence. I'm going to move this presence from 4 into 1. I'm going to Blight Cascade on 2. There's not much I can do about that. But everything else I think will be pretty fine. Oh, poor time sideways. Let me do it, actually. It could be crazy. All right, instead of gathering from 3, I'm going to gather from 1. And I'm going to play these 3 cards and try something a little nuts. Not sure it's the right decision, but we're going to do it anyway. Land 2 would be a mess. That's going to cost 1. This is going to cost 2 when we choose to play it. So I'm going to put 2 on there now. It's also going to cost 2 time. And Poor Time Sideways is going to cost 3 time. Enticing Splendor, I'm going to gather this dude there. And then I'll do the element check. We get the 1 sun from that. So we have 3 sun, 2 air, and 2 moon. Getting a 3rd moon would be huge, but just not getting there yet. So I will be able to get another power card with Slip the Flow of Time. And we do have the first level of Visions of a Shifting Future again. We already gained my power card, which was garbage. Definitely playing Grasping Tide. And then Slip the Flow of Time to give me a 2nd card play. So with that card play, I'm going to play Sucking Ooze. That's going to give me 3 moon, no air, 3 water, and 1 earth. So I have the first level of Ocean Breaks to Shore. Nothing with Pound Shift to Splinter. This costs 1. I'm going to generate 2 fear. If invaders are present, I'm going to target land 2. So it's 2 fear, and I'm isolating land 2. Again, I have to target a wetland or a sands. I'm going to generate 2 more fear with Grasping Tide, and I'm defending 4 in land 3. Now, Fracture Days, I've already done Slip the Flow of Time. I already did Enticing Splendor. I'm going to do the past returns again. We spent the 2 and the 2 time. I'm going to actually give Fractured Days 1 of these energy back. I'm going to pay the other energy with Ocean, again, because it can be jointly paid for by all the spirits. And I'm going to take 1 of the cards of this card pile and replace it with the top card on the Invader deck. So the other level 2 guard is not to be worried about, so we don't have to worry about that escalation. We're then going to do Poor Time Sideways. I'm going to move 1 of my presence to a different land with my presence. So Fractured Days is going to have all his presence in land 8, which is fine. And then on the board move from, during Invader Phase, resolve Invader, and each board, each land action is 1 fewer time. And on the board move to, during the Invader Phase, resolve Invader, and each board, each land action 1 more time. We're going to go to the Invader Phase. We're going to take this, we know what it is, Invested Aristocracy. So after the Vibrant step on each board, if no blight was added on the board, add 1 town to the highest number of land with no invaders. So we're going to have to do that twice here. I think that'll be okay. Praying the Heathens. In each land with beast, 1 damage per beast. Not helpful. And on each board, add 1 Dahan to a land with 2 or more Dahan. That is a on each board action. And so we're going to do that twice on board A. And not going to do it at all on board F. So I'm going to add a Dahan to 3. And I'm going to add a Dahan to 6. Fear card. Trade suffers. Invaders do not build in lands with cities. Could work out. I'd have to see how this plays out. I think that'll actually go very well for us. So Ravage step. We're not doing anything on board F, remember, because time was poured sideways. So we're doing the Ravage action twice in land 8, ravaging once, it's only 1 damage. Ravaging again, still only 1 damage. No harm, no foul. Ravaging in land 3, it's ravaging 5, undefended 4. The Han's injured. They all fight back and wipe those guys out. That's 3 fear. They ravage again. Again, there's nothing left there to ravage. So that did the trick. So after ravage, no blight was added. So we have to add a town to the highest number of land with no invaders. We're going to do that twice. So we're going to do it once here. Oh wait, highest number of land with no invaders. So we're going to do it in land 7, and then we'll do it again in land, shoot. We're going to get another one in land 5. All right, any rules guys out there? I'm pretty sure I did all that right, but it gets a little nuts. Poor Time Sideways is a very, very crazy card. Now we do the build step. We're going to do the build step 0 times on Ocean's board. We're doing it twice on Fractured Days' board. However, we're going to do it twice on land 2. There's a city there. Invaders do not build in lands with cities. We're going to build once on land 5, and then it's not going to build again. So this fear card was huge because we basically just stopped 3 builds among 2 lands on Fractured Days' board. So that makes me really happy. So that's done. And now we're going to do the explore steps. And again, these are invader actions. So this is going to happen twice. We know it's Sands. Sands is not doing anything on board F. Oh, my grandiose plan. I isolated this. I was thinking there wouldn't be any ability for a source in land 4. Unfortunately, again, things changed a little bit, but that's fine. So we're going to put 2 explorers in land 4, and we put 2 explorers in land 7, which I'm totally cool with. All right, invader cards advance, and we know we have a stage 3 card just chilling for us there. I am now going to do Ocean Breaks to Shore. I'm drowning this town. That's going to generate a fear, gives me a fear card. And I'm going to turn that town into 1 energy immediately. We are going to look at the top card of either the event deck or the invader deck. Well, I'm reclaiming cards. I'll look at the invader deck. So it would be mountains and jungles. So that'd be good to know. Could be a little more effective. And then I'm going to shuffle this. I know this is the coastal lands card because, again, that's where it was put during setup. So I'm going to shuffle these 2, and then we'll let a die roll figure out what's going to be on top. What I roll here is the one I'm going to put back on top first. I rolled a 5, so we're going back in the same order. So 2 and then 3. So jungles and mountains. It goes to time passes, so all 5 of this time has to go back on my board. This energy goes away, this all goes into the discard. We will have to reclaim cards as Fractured Days. It means he gets an air element. It's going to be a wee bit useless right now, but I think will be okay. He's going to gain 2 time, which is going to give him 2 energy. We are going to want to do Absolute Stasis for sure. We have 2 card plays. That's fairly cheap. So the interesting thing about when you do the patch returns again, there can only be a 1 level difference. We'll play Twilight Fog Brings Madness. Absolute Stasis. It's going to cost 1 time. Play Enticing Splendor. I'm going to get some Dahan into land 8. Yeah, that event card really set me up in land 5 in a way that makes me sad. No, I'm not going to play this. I am going to give Ocean a chance to shine. All right, before I forget, let me take my money from the presence track. Yeah, we're going to do growth option 3, which wasn't what I originally was going to do. I was figuring B, but 3 makes sense. I'm going to add a presence into land 3. No, I'm going to push 1 in there anyway. I'll add it into land 2, and then I get to push 1. So bam and bam. Yeah, before I push and before I add, let me get a major. Sweep into the sea. Hello. Push all explorers and towns 1 land towards the nearest ocean. Yeah, that's kind of the no-brainer. Tsunami. Tsunami is fine. The problem with Tsunami only targets a coastal land, and I already have so many things that target coastal lands. So I find that Tsunami with ocean actually isn't that good. Even though it just crushes your elements, right? But it costs 6. I actually think Sweep into the Sea is going to be more effective for what I need right now. And it's cheaper too. But it doesn't have the mountain. Oh man. Tsunami is so stupid. Oh, Tsunami. Tsunami! Just don't think I'm going to be able to afford it. I have this 3. Like calls a like, has a sun. Oh, I'll take Tsunami. So if I was Tsunami, then I just really control the coast and I try to get Fractured Days to start doing all the inland stuff. So I'm going to drop a card. I'm going to drop Sucking Ooze. I'm going to figure out my 2 card plays. I'm going to play the 2 that don't cost me anything. And let's get Tsunami out here right off the bat. Let me do the element check over here. I have 2 sun, no moon, and 3 air. So that doesn't actually unlock anything. Spur on with Words of Fire is going to give me another energy. Ocean has another energy, so he has 6 energy now, and I can immediately play another card, paying its cost. I'm going to play Tsunami, and that's going to cost me 6. So we have 1 moon, 2 moons, because there's 1 on the board, 1 air from Call of the Deeps, 1, 2, 3, 4 water, and 1, 2 earth. That does give me the stronger level of Tsunami, and it's going to give me the 2nd level of Ocean Breaks to Shores, and it gives me the 2nd level of Pound Ships to Splinters. So I'm going to do Pound Ships to Splinters. I get 2 fear off the top. I can do Call of the Deeps. Oh, I can add a presence. I'm going to add this presence here, and then I'm going to push 1 presence from each ocean. I'm going to push a presence from there. I'll push a presence from there. So Call the Deeps. I can target a coastal land. I can gather and explore. We're ravaging a wetland, so I just don't want to gather anything into there. I'll gather this explorer into 3 and see if the fear card gets rid of the other one. Absolute stasis. 2 away from our sacred site. I'm going to make nothing exist in land 7. All right, now the event card. What round are we in? It feels like I'm in round 70. Woo! All right. Yeah. Round 4. This is a thinker of a combo, man. I'll tell you what. The event card is Resourceful Populace, terror level 1. For the rest of this turn, after an action destroys 1 or more towns or cities and 1 town to an adjacent land. If there are no adjacent lands, due to isolate, don't add anything. What? Eric, the worst. Virulence among close packed homes. Add a disease to an inland land with the most cities or towns. I'm going to add a disease to land number 8 on board F. I'm going to add it to land 5 on board A. Each spirit with at least 3 Dahan among its lands. Gains 1 energy and may reclaim 1 card. That is me as Ocean. Me. Identify as Ocean. I gain 1 energy and I'm going to reclaim a card. I'm going to reclaim Grasping Tide. So again, after an action destroys 1 or more towns or cities, add a town. Immigration accelerates. Each player removes 1 explorer from a coastal land. So bang, bang. Not the problem here. And now we're going to do some ravaging. Some ravagery, if you will. So we're ravaging in wetlands, nothing, nothing. Blight into land 2. The Han's defeated, and then we get another blight into the ocean. I move my presence out thanks to that growth option, so I avoided losing a presence in the ocean, which is good. So 2 blight left on a healthy island card. We're building, we're rebuilding. We're building in land 2, so that's going to get a city. We're going to not build in land 8 because we just added that disease. We're not doing anything in land 7 because of absolute stasis. And then we're building a town in land 4, which is, I was hoping that was remove an explorer from an inland land. That would have been a lot better. All right, we're now exploring mountains. So we'll do board A first. Wilds comes off, so that prevents the town. We get 1 explorer into 6. We're going to get an explorer into 8 and a town into 3. That board's done. Board F is a town into 2, explorer into 5, an explorer into 6, and an explorer into 4. Invader cards advance. That is a bad event card. All right, let me do it this way. I'm going to drown the city in land 1. That goes on my board. It generates 2 fear. I'm going to turn the explorer that was still on my board for a while in the city into 2 energy. It's 4 health worth of invaders. Now I have to add a town into an adjacent land. I'm going to add it into 2. All right, so I did Ocean Breaks to Shores. I'm going to do Tsunami. Coastal land is 2 away from where I have a sacred site. 2 fear off the top. 8 damage. So I'm going to destroy 2 cities and a town. That's 5 fear. 2 and 3 more. Oh, and a fear card. Don't forget the fear card. And then in each other land, the same board. I think that's all 1 action. So I only have to add 1 town. My understanding of what's going on here is that since these are threshold events, they're not separate actions. We could do the whole thing and then just add a town to an adjacent land at the end, but it's still going to be adjacent to the target land, and the target land is 2. Since I target a land 2, the threshold event, I'm going to also do 4 damage in land 1 and destroy a Dahan, and that generates a fear. And then I could add a town in an adjacent land. I'm going to add this town to land 3, and then I have Swallow the Land Dwellers, which is going to allow me to drown that town. That's going to generate a fear, give me an energy, but since that's a new action that destroyed a town or a city, I'm going to put this in land 2. Which I still think makes the most sense, even though we're about to build there next turn. But that's one heck of a turn, and it got me 4 energies. That was nuts, but yeah, highly effective. So, time's going to pass. We're going to put this back on the board here. These get discarded. And now we got to figure out our next steps. Could reclaim again. I don't want to. Don't think it's worth it. I'm going to add 2 more presents. I'm going to add 1 more presence here. 1 presence here. So this is growth option B. It gives me 3 card plays. I'm going to get 1 energy from that. 1 energy from that. We now go to Fractured Days. Fractured Days is going to gain another power card from the days that never were. He gets a sun because of that. I'm going to give him 3 card plays. He's getting 1 energy from the presence track, and he'll clear that off, so he'll get 2 energy from the presence track. I'm going to take Rapid Wings of Sunlight. Now I'm going to take the extra Earth element instead of the 3rd card plays. I feel like I'm going to get 3 card plays from good old Fractured Days here anyway. So I took a major, so I have to get rid of something. Well, I'm never having time pour sideways again. Yeah, it's just not going to work. So take that out. It's just too tricky. It gets too much stuff on the board. Plenty of options for the elements I need. So I play Rapid Wings of Sunlight. I'll play the Past Returns again, and I'll play Enticing Splendor. This is going to cost 2 time. This is going to cost 3 money. This is going to cost 2 money. I'm going to play 1 and 1. Element check. We have 4 sun, 1 moon, and 2 air. So again, we're going to be a little bit short, just not having enough moon, but we do get the 3rd level of this. So it's going to be 3 card plays this ocean. Ocean's going to play these 2 cards and then have a 3rd one. So I'll do the element check after I get the 3rd one out. Ding and ding. And then we're going to do Slip the Flow of Time. Gives me another action. Thank you. Thank you, Fractured. You're the best. There we go. Element check. We're going to have 3 moon, no air, unfortunately, but 1, 2, 3, 4 water and 1, 2 earth. So I can drown another city if there will. Well, there might be a city here, so that will work. All right, fast powers. Just basically playing Grasping Tide for the fear at this point, right? Because I'm going to reclaim cards next turn. So 2 fear. I get to defend 4 somewhere, even though it's not going to really matter. I will take the fear for sure. I will defend 4 here in case I move something over there. Get the Dahan, that will work. And I have no other fast powers. I think I have the 2nd level of Ocean Breaks the Shores. Past Returns again. We're going to put a level 1 card here. It's going to be Jungles, so we're getting rid of Coastal Lands. No, it's Coastal Lands. I mean, it's going to make a lot of pressure on this land too, but I think it's going to make sense. We should be able to figure that out. Oh, during growth, I could move a presence. I'm going to move a presence to land 3. There's no blight there, so Enticing Splendor. I'm going to gather a town in there, which is totally fine. And gather that from 4. And then I'm going to do Rapid Wings of Sunlight. I'm going to move up to 5 Dahan from this land. I'm going to only move the 1, and then I get to defend 5 in the land I move to. So that's going to defend land 7. And I also just realized I forgot I had a blight in land 5. It should have rapids there last turn. I wanted to prevent the city in land 7. I just felt that was more important. Might have been better to have absolute stasis go in land 5. So that got caught. Fortunately, event card. Ugh, resource populace was so bad. Seeking the Interior. We are in stage 1. Ha! The stage is whatever's there, except if it's a card that's specially placed during setup. This is your stage, and so part of Fractured Days' trickery is that we're playing with time. So now it's stage 1. In each coastal land, push 1 explorer, 1 land inland. There are no explorers in the coast, so joke's on you. Otherwise, in stage 2, in a single land with most explorers, we'd have pushed all the towns and cities adjacent. That wouldn't have been that bad either. But Seeking the Interior doesn't trigger anything. Beasts generate 1 fear if invaders are present and move to an adjacent land. If not, I'll move this to land 4. I'll move this to land 4. Beasts are doing not much this game. And then forsake the barren land. On each board, push 2 Dahan from a land with blight to a land without blight. There are no Dahan in lands with blight. The fear card. Terror level 1. Each player may push up to 2 explorers from an inland land. That's actually really huge. I will move these 2 explorers here. We're defending 4 there, so that makes sense. And I'll move this explorer here. Again, they can be on the same board. It's not on each board. So I think that makes sense. I'm defending this 4. All those explorers get wiped out, and then we don't need to worry about oceans inland getting extra crazy, especially since we're about to go Blighted Island, since land 8 is a mess. All right, invader actions. We are ravaging. Here we're defended 5. 2 explorers are gone. Fear card for destroying the town. These explorers are ravaging. Defended 3. Those 3 are gone. So that worked out. Putting the defend 4 there for the elements more than anything at first. Ravaging on land 4. No, nothing to worry about. And now we're ravaging on land 8 on board F. So we are going Blighted Island. We still need to put out 1 Cascade. Disintegrating Ecosystem. So there is 10 blight on this card, but it's only going to be 9. Immediately on each board, destroy 1 beast and then add a blight to a land with cities and towns. Well, that's not great. Now we can add a blight to a coastal land without putting it in the ocean, because that thing with the blight going to the ocean, when there's blight put in the coastal land, only triggers when it's from a ravage action. So right now there's going to be 10 to start, but we're going to be down to 7 by the time we add all this blight. We're going to destroy both of our beasts. So glad I didn't really lean into this tiger's hunting strategy. Add a blight to a land with cities and towns. Fine, I'll add a blight to 6 on board A. I guess 2. I mean, if I blight cascade this turn or blight cascade now, I mean, it's all the same math. So 2 on board F, and I have to cascade from 8. I'm going to cascade into 6. So that could have been worse. There's definitely some blight of that on the cards I did not want to see. We're now going to build. We're building a city in land 2. We're building a town in land 4. We're building a city in land 3. We are building a city in land 1 because it's a coastal land that's adjacent to a city. We're building a city in land 6 and a town in land 8. Oh, fractured. I mean, I'll tell you what, 4 times sideways might have been really helpful if I kept it around for later if this board keeps going this way, but obviously land 8 is a problem. We're going to need to get Manifest Incarnation in there at some point, putting a lot of pressure on Fractured Days here right now. But now we do the Explorer action, strolling into jungles, so we get a town in land 2 and an Explorer in land 5, and we get a town in land 3 on this board and Explorer into land 1. Invader cards advance. I'm going to drown this city. That's 2 fear. And I'm going to turn the city into 1 energy and an explorer. You can make change at any time. I'm going to play Tidal Boon. I'm going to give 2 energy to Fractured Days. And he's going to push a town. He's going to push it into the ocean because it's a coastal wetland. Since I have presence on that board, I'm going to get a fear and an energy out of that. Trying to figure out where it makes the most sense for like calls to like here. Walls of Rock and Thorn, I think makes this make the most sense. So I'm going to gather an explorer, town, and a blight into 6. Yeah, I like it. I don't love it, but I like it. Time passes. These 2 time have to go back on here. We're good to go. All right, so I have to reclaim my cards. I'm gonna get 2 energy from that and 1 energy from my presence track. Turn it into 3. I have 2 card plays. Hopefully I can get a 3rd from Fractured over here. So what's he going to do? He's going to do same growth options. He gets a sun again. We're going to get the Walls of Rock and Thorn. I have to forget a card. I'm going to forget the past returns again because I really don't like the escalation. So I'm never really going to turn a level 3 card into a level 2 card because of that. I have 3 card plays. They're going to cost me 5, so that's not bad. So I will take 2 time to get 2 energy from the presence track, and I'm going to take 2 energy instead of taking a 3rd time. All right, so I'm going to turn that into a 3. Yeah, so he's pretty good with energy here. So here's his 3 card plays. So 4, 5. Elemental Threshold, that's going to be 4, 2. Just keep coming 1 short of that last moon. I'm going to need to really do some cool things here. So 4, 2, 2. It gives me the 3rd level of here and the 1st level of Visions of a Shifting Future once again. I regain my powers. Oh, I do gain a power card. I think I gain another major. Tsunami's great, but something that could get me inland would be really nice. Ooh, Paralyzing Fright. Hello. Accelerating Rot is interesting. Plays right into my elements. Spill Bitterness into the earth is a stone special, but it's not really going to work for me. Paralyzing Fright only has range 1, so I think Accelerated Rot just because of its range. And I'm going to get rid of Like Calls to Like. I have to gather 1 presence into each ocean. I'm going to keep my Sacred Sight on 1, and I will get rid of this presence here. Definitely playing Grasping Tide. I'm going to get a 3rd card play from Fractured. I think Tsunami's too strong. All right, Tsunami and Call of the Deeps. I'm wondering if I played Like Calls to Like wrong, if I should have started moving stuff out of there. But let's gamble. Gamble 30. All right, so that's going to be all my cashola. That is going to give me 3, 1, 4, and 2 again to the 2nd level of here and the threshold of here. And that gives me 2 fear from Pound Ships of Splinters. So I'll take that 2 fear. I get to gather an Explorer, gather this explorer so that we don't have to worry about that building. And I get 2 fear from Grasping Tide. And I'm defending 4 inland 3. So I still have presence in the ocean there. I could have moved the presence. I'll move this presence somewhere else. Let me move this presence here. Yeah, that's where I want it anyway for Manifest Incarnation. So I'm going to hopefully get a little bit lucky, maybe get a defend per Dahan or something. So I'm going to play Blur the Archeyears there, make a second Dahan, and then push those guys over. Walls of Rock and Thorn, I'm going to do 2 damage in land 6. I have to target a mountain or a jungle. Regenerate 1 fear for killing that town. Gets me up to terror level 2, makes me feel a little bit better with my chances here. And then defend 8, we need my trusty D8 over here. On a defend token, I add a wilds. Do not have the threshold for that, but I also isolate the target land. So it's a whole bunch of really cool effects in land 6. All my fast powers are done. Let's go to the event. Hope for some good luck. Sacred Sites under threat. Ooh, this could work. Invaders have begun to find hidden places of natural power. So the only thing I need to do with this card, I don't really love the way it's worded. I need to find places that have both invaders and have sacred sites. I can let the island's strength repulse them, which would mean I would push 1 explorer or town to an adjacent land, but then I'd also have to remove 1 blight per player from the blight card. So I'd be down to 5 blight, which could be super dangerous because that could be enough to knock me out based on current game state. Or I can guard the sacred sites myself. Now, if I guard the sacred sites myself, I have 2 options. 1, I could destroy a presence from the spirit, or I can do damage. If I do damage, then I have to pay 3 energy for each land that I do damage in. I think I'm going to go ahead and do 2 damage in land 8. That is just the best way to make sure I'm not getting a blight there, because I have a sacred site and invaders in land 8. I do have 3 energy. It's aided by fire, so I can just drop that card. I can't discard it because it was already in my discarded card, so fine. I did that. Let me save that energy. It could be really important with these cards here. And I'm going to do 2 damage in land 8. So those explorers are both gone. So getting lucky, step 1. Now, land 1, I have a different choice. I need to keep a sacred site, but I don't really care. I don't want to do 2 damage. I'm just going to destroy his presence. I have no fire, and if I did, I wouldn't be on a card I'd want to drop anyway. So I'm just going to lose 1 of Ocean's presence, which is totally fine. Beast Prowl. I have no beasts, so there are no beasts. They don't move anywhere. No fear. Nothing happens there. And then Spirit Speaker solve riddles of power. Each spirit with at least 4 Dahan among its lands gains a minor power. That is not I really need to move this town. If I can get rid of that town, I love where I'm at. Dahan and Heartened. Each player chooses a different land. In chosen lands, got up to 2 Dahan. Then 1 damage if Dahan are present. Well, I have to use a different land. 1 damage is not enough damage, but whatever. It's 1 damage per if I was in terror level 3. So I'm going to just do 1 damage, kill the explorer, and then hope something else. I guess the math is probably better. Let me do it this way. I will injure the town. And I could gather 2 Dahan somewhere else. Oh, shoot. Land 1 is also a problem. Oh, shoot. That could be 7 blight right there. Yikes. Yeah, that was not the card of dreams. Not the card of dreams. I'll gather these Dahan, and we'll just wipe out that explorer. Next fear card. Immigration. Blight. Yeah, I'm done. That's unfortunate. I kind of liked where I was at. If I could have just survived this turn. If I could have just survived this turn. Trying to think if there's any way I could have just kind of approached this a little differently. The 3 moons is nice because it allows you to do a slow power fast, and I just never had the moons. I would have started getting them between Twisted Murmurs and Manifest Incarnation. What I had, I just kept being short of the moon. Because if I can do a slow power fast, that obviously makes a huge difference. Welp, womp. Immigration slow, skip the next normal build. Build card remains in place. It's actually a good card too. All right, here we go. Vader steps. So we have to Blight Cascade. So 1, 2. We have to Blight Cascade in land 1. So 1, 2. Those are both out. I mean, even anything that gave me a defense on the coastal land, there's so many cards that would have really helped. So those 2 presents are out, and then they would attack here. We generate 2 fears because the Han would fight back. They would attack 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 here. Fight back, wipe them out. That's 3 fear. Oh, the 1 Dahan would have gone out here, the other one would have been injured, but then he would have retaliated, wiped those guys out. That's one fear. So everywhere else would have been done, and then we would have been here. So the problem is we'd have blight, add a blight to the ocean, that destroys a presence, and then we have to add another blight because we have to cascade. So that is all she wrote. Yeah, so basically 2 ravage actions added stuff to the ocean. I mean, even if like we had 2 blight in the card, I mean, that's not a bad game state. I know it looks bad in a way, but don't forget I'm doing 8 damage here. We're exploring where, well, jungles again, that's fine with the escalation, but we're not building. But I do 8 damage here, so I mean that looks a lot better real quick. We'd add a strife. Yeah, no, it was unfortunate. It was unfortunate. It was kind of looking good, and we would have no rabbits next turn either, right? So even 1 blight left, we'd have some time. You know, you got manifest incarnation, we can take all those out. You know, then you're just biding my time until I can get, you know, tsunami back over here, but my energy generation was picking up. So really one fear card away from really having a solid chance. This is a big challenge. I mean, Scotland's tough. I definitely have not mastered Fractured Days yet. Again, I liked where we were going. I liked the way he kept giving Ocean extra actions. 3 of the blight we went through were because of the level 5 escalation, right? So if I have 3 blight left to play with, I don't think that would have been a problem to take it from there, just with what the game state would have been. We will live to fight another day, and that's about it. I won't be doing a challenge again on the channel. I'll do it on my own, but super fun. Fractured Days in Ocean, man, it break your brain, but it's in the best of ways. It's definitely worth doing. Thank you for all your support. If you want to see what's coming up down the pipe for solo playthroughs, I do have a link in the description below to my Patreon page, and on my Patreon page at the end of every month, about a week before the next month, I put out a schedule for the month to come so you can see what's coming down the pipe. Make sure you don't miss anything that you would want to see here. Thank you for your comments, your likes, and everything that people do to show me how much they appreciate this channel. It's been really fun to work on these last couple of years, and I look forward to doing this for a long time to come. So that is it. Time to go lick some wounds. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy gaming.